Do you want free watches forever? Do you want to get watch after watch into your collection and not pay any money? Well, so do I. And unfortunately, that's not really a reality. However, I have come up with a system that I utilize that helps me not spend any extra money. Let's jump into it and let me tell you how. Hello, you're watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I'm talking about watches. And today I'm going to share with you a system that I employ to sort of get watches without dipping into my savings. I've had this channel for around about 2 years. I've bought around 60 watches, and those 60 watches, I've not once spent any of my savings. And even before I had this channel, I utilized this same system and it really worked. Now, there is no magical answer to this. I'm not going to give you some amazing, mind-blowing ways of getting free watches. That's not at all, but it is a system that works. It's a system I use, and without using this system, I wouldn't be able to have this channel because I buy the majority of the watches that I feature on this channel. Now, this is not one of those videos where I'm going to fluff around and talk a lot of crap and then at the end tell you how to do it. It's actually a step-by-step, so you, unfortunately, you're going to have to sit there and listen to me if you want to hear how I do this. Now, I developed this system purely out of need because I love watches, I love buying watches, I love experiencing watches, but I can't really justify pulling large amounts of money out of my savings or the money that is towards other things that are much more important to me than watches. Yes, I love watches, but yes, I also want to retire at a reasonable age, and yes, I want to pay off my house at a reasonable level, and yes, I still want to go on holiday, so I can't spend all my money on watches. So this is why I've come up with this system. So firstly, you do need a little bit of cash to start off with. I do apologize, but there is a way of doing that, and there is a way that I did that. Now, I can only tell you the way that I did it, and it may or may not work for you. Personally, when I started this channel, I needed some extra cash. I needed some extra cash to buy some extra watches and a few bits of equipment so I could start the channel. I couldn't just do it with the watches that I had, otherwise the channel would stall fairly quickly. So what I did, well, I looked around the house and I sold everything that wasn't bolted down. Well, not exactly that, but I certainly had bought many things over the years that I loved, that I had interest in, but now weren't as interesting to me as they had been previously, and I justified selling those things to then build up a little bit of what I call a watch budget. I went around, sold everything that I didn't need, things that were superfluous now to my needs, things that perhaps that I loved at one stage but now was sitting in a drawer, and I built up a little bit of a budget. It was also good because I then was able to do a bit of a spring clean and really get rid of some clutter in my house. So it was a bit of a twofer there. Firstly, getting some money. Secondly, clearing out some of the stuff that is in my house that I didn't really need in my house. So that really worked for me. So that's how I got my initial watch budget. And I think perhaps a lot of people can apply this as well. Most of us have probably too much stuff in their houses. I like to be somebody that doesn't have too many things. And it was really nice to be able to get that money for this watch budget. But it was also actually kind of nice to actually declutter the house somewhat. But now that I've got this watch budget, what do I do? The next step is probably the biggest, sort of most important step. And that is when you're buying watches, you need to buy watches at the right price. And how do you do that? Well, you employ some patience. If you find a watch that you love and you just buy it straight away, this system is not going to work for you. You need to employ patience, and patience could be weeks, it could be months, it could even possibly be years. But if you find a watch that you really, really like, write it down so you don't forget which watch it is, and then constantly search for it. Spend the time, put the effort in once a week, seeing what's out there. Find some spots like eBay, find some spots like grey market dealers, find things that when they go on sale, if they're a really good sale, that might be the right time to buy it. Also look secondhand. There are a lot of watches out there that are pre-owned but are basically new. But still, doesn't mean it's going to be the right price. You need to then be able to figure out, is it the right price? And the only way you're going to do that is to figure out how much these watches are generally selling for. So you've really got to come to an understanding of how much the watches that you're buying actually sell for. Because this is not going to work if you buy a watch for more than you can sell it for. The idea is to be able to buy watches at a price where you'll be able to sell it for the same sort of money. Therefore, be able to get your money back. The next thing you have to do is open up your mind to other watches. If you narrow focus your sort of thoughts about one particular watch, that's the only watch you want to buy, this system is going to fall down and it's not going to work for you because it's unlikely that you are going to find this one watch at the price that you want. Or certainly not within a short period of time. So opening up your mind to other watches allows you to buy watches at amazing prices, buy watches that you may not have even considered owning, and actually get to experience some other interesting watches. So now you've used up that watch budget by buying some watches that have been on sale at amazing prices, or you bought secondhand at amazing prices. You've done the research knowing that when you go to sell them later on, you know you're going to get your money back, or possibly even make a little bit of money. You're looking for those bargains online, those ones which you know you're going to be able to resell and get your money back. Because that's how this system works. You end up selling watches to buy watches. But there's no rush. When you buy a watch, you keep it as long as you want. You keep it, you wear it, you experience it, you love it. But it'll get to a point, generally at some point, that it doesn't end up getting worn very much anymore. And that's the time to sell it. Time to put that money back into the watch budget. Time to be able to give you access to buying some more watches. And again, you're then utilizing patience, you're getting an open mind, and you're finding watches at the right price that then leads on to the next one after this watch that you buy. And this method has opened up something for me that I didn't quite realize was going to occur. It's opened up a bit of freedom for me, because I've had this watch budget, this set amount of money that I can spend on any watch that I want, as long as it's at the right price. Which means I've bought watches that I wasn't expecting to buy, watches that perhaps I wasn't particularly focused on, and it's given me some really amazing watches that have really opened up my mind to different styles of watches, different brands of watches, and some really interesting stuff. But having this watch budget also gives you more freedom because you're not spending money from your savings. You're not pulling money from other things and thinking, well, I should rather spend it on this or I should spend it on this. No, you've got this money. It's only for watches. You can spend it on watches. You can be free and feel justified spending this money on watches. And that's what I do. And it's given me this freedom to buy some amazing stuff and experience amazing watches and really experience this watch collecting world that we sort of live in at the moment, or at least I'm living in. But don't ever go over budget, because it's very, very easy to think, oh, that watch is only a little bit beyond my watch budget, or it's a bit more beyond my watch budget. Don't blow your watch budget. And I've learned a couple of lessons out of that. Firstly, because I've almost done it a couple of times. I've thought, oh yeah, I can justify it. I should buy it. But then I would have made a mistake, because then I would have spent money out of my savings, and I don't want to do that. But the second reason has been, which is quite interesting, is when I haven't spent that money, on reflection, I'm sort of glad I haven't spent it, because I've ended up finding other watches which I have bought within the budget that I've loved as much or even more than the watch that I was looking at that was beyond my watch budget. Now guys, if you've enjoyed this video, maybe check this one out next. This might be something in the same sort of theme, maybe worth checking out. Thanks for watching.